Woohoo! Cedar Point! Hi, Jess. It is Thursday morning, and have I got a story for you today. Earlier this week, Erin and I went to Cedar Point, just the two of us, and this video was supposed to be about how much fun we had and what our favorite coasters were and some cool footage. But then some things happened and an even greater narrative emerged, and I'm going to tell you about it. It all started on Monday evening. I had to work until 6:30, so we knew we were going to get to Cedar Point pretty late. We had a reservation at the hotel. We hit the road as soon as we could, I think just before 7, and we were driving along, we were listening to podcasts, and then right around Ann Arbor area, so like 2 hours into our drive, we hit a bump. And at first we thought we were fine, but then we heard some noises and everything was clearly not okay. So we pulled off, and it turned out that our tire was flat. Worse than that, we had no spare. So we were in the car on our phones Googling, like, what do we do? Where's the nearest parts store or any kind of shop? It's almost 9 o'clock, and so almost everything is closed at this point, especially all the good, like, fix-it places. We're panicking a little bit, but I was trying very hard to just focus on what we had to do. We called a tow service. They towed us to a place in Ann Arbor that had a Firestone tire place. From there, we called a rental company that was fortunately open until 11, so that was really good. So 2 things that I've never had to do before: call a tow service and call a rental car company and rent a car. We got that at like 10:15 at night, 10:30, and then we drove to Sandusky, Ohio, which took another 2 hours. And so we got to our hotel, got to sleep around 1 o'clock. So we were just glad to be in our hotel in a bed because we were not sure if we were going to make it at all. So that was good. And the next morning we were ready to hit some coasters. When we got in, we headed straight for the gatekeeper because that was really close and there was pretty much no line.
It was like
That was a lot of fun, and my heart was pumping so fast. Then we headed for Millennium Force because that, of course, was one of the ones we really wanted to ride. Then from there, we headed to another newer coaster called Steel Vengeance. And when we got in line, it didn't look like it was that long, but it turned out to be pretty long. And we were waiting there for an hour and a half, maybe almost 2 hours, when it began to rain. Unfortunately, that meant they stopped the ride. It started raining really hard and blowing rain at us. So I was pretty tired at that point, but we were staying in line because we just really hoped that they would open it again. It seemed like the rain was going to clear up, and then we waited another like half hour and they still hadn't opened it, and so we left. It was pouring rain at that point, and we were walking around and they were telling people, "We cannot have you walking around on the midway. You need to take shelter." So we went into the gift shop for Steel Vengeance, which was great because there was all kinds of products with the roller coaster that we did not get to ride. We're probably going to talk about Steel Vengeance again for a while and just how we didn't get to ride it and how vengeful it made us feel. Especially because when we were in that gift shop, we got a phone call from Firestone Tires, and they said that our rim was bent and they would have to order another one and it wouldn't come until the next day. So that was a pretty low point. I was honestly sitting on the floor of that store, and it was pouring rain and people were around wearing ponchos and stuff, and I was just thinking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in Jumanji, how he goes, "Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry." And I may have cried a lot. And just remembering that moment, I'm still kind of like emotional because that was just such a low point, and just everything kind of piled up. to make me feel real depressed about the situation. But in that low moment, you know what saved the day, Jess? The train. The train was one of the only things that was still running, and it was right by where we were, so we decided, hey, why not? So we got on, and the seats were wet, so we had to brush the water off and just sit on the wet seats, but it had a roof, and it was moving, and we just decided, okay, this is something we can do. It turned out even better than we expected, because they had set up all of these scenes of skeletons wearing clothes and just doing different things, and it made me laugh a lot. And I really, really needed to laugh at that moment. So that was really nice. And while we were on the train, it poured rain again, but we were laughing and we were having a good time, so it didn't matter. And then after we got off the train, we walked around some more, and we actually found some smaller rides that were still open, some that had a roof on them or things like that that were lower down. And it was funny because they were advertised as number 3, which is like moderate thrills. And we got on the car and we had fun, and we were like, well, that was moderately thrilling. So after we rode a couple of those, we walked through the Camp Snoopy village, which was so cute because there was all these little kid-sized rides, and there was like this little frog hopper ride that was shaped like the kite tree, and there was these little kids on it that were screaming their heads off even though they were only like 5 feet above the ground. It was so cute. Then we noticed that the Wicked Twister was open, so we were like, okay, this is a coaster, we're gonna go. And we had to wait like 20 minutes for that maybe, and we got on, and it was really fun, really fast. I wonder why everyone was screaming the minute that it took off, and then when I got on, I figured it out because it was really fast. Then we went on Max Air, which was really fun. On Max Air, I saw this little airplane ride. It was just airplanes that went in a circle, but there was a lot of tiny children on it, and there was a baby who was probably only like 1, if that, and she was just chilling. Super chill, riding the airplanes. It was so cute. Then after that, we still got to go on a couple more rides. We rode the Iron Dragon, we rode a new one called Rougarou. Then we capped it all off with another train ride. We got dinner, and we drove back to Ann Arbor. So all in all, the day was really fun. We did get to ride a lot of rides, and it was much better than we expected it to turn out when it was raining. And our hero through all of this was Aaron's dad, because he gave us a lot of good advice, and not only did he help us figure out what to do, he drove to Ann Arbor, stayed in a hotel overnight so that we could take his car home and he would pick up the car in the morning, and I still got to work on time yesterday, and we got to sleep in our own bed after all of that. And Jess, when I got into my bed that night, I was so exhausted and so thankful for everything that we do have, everything that we got to experience, that we had the money to go to Cedar Point, and we had the money to not be too hurt by all of the expensive repairs that we needed to pay for, and the car rental and the tow and everything. I was so thankful that we had each other, because when we broke down initially, I think I was the more level-headed one that figured out what we needed to do and kept us focused, but then later on I kind of broke down and Aaron took care of me. So all things considered, this was not the story I thought I was going to be telling you, but we have a good story about the things that we are grateful for even in the midst of troubled times, and about staying optimistic. I think I'm really proud of us for just trying to keep a positive attitude overall, and over the day we just kept thinking of, ways that we're glad it wasn't worse, or things that we're grateful for, the fun that we got to have, and the blessings we did have, that we had each other and the help of Aaron's dad, and that it all worked out in the end. We've got Aaron's car back. We have to pay some bills, but other than that, we're fine. That's the end of the story for now. Comment below if you have any crazy Cedar Point or other amusement park stories or things that you didn't expect to happen. Jess, I love you so, so much, and I will see you on Monday.